Okay, so it's almost 7. And I don't even feel late. It's weird. Like everything feels so weird. Like I see it just even feels like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Like, what the hell am I doing? But last night was so weird. I swear to God, these nights just get weirder and weirder and weirder. I don't know if it's like letting our guard down to go to sleep at this point. It's so weird. It is, I babysat over there yesterday, which on babysitting dogs is so much easier. As I don't know, they can be annoying sometimes, but they are just easier. And like kids, it is so crazy because no matter what, it was like the same thing with my grandkids. It's like a certain age of kids, the ones that still need babysitters and stuff, they listen to the TV so loud. It's just like, oh my God. And everything is so loud already. And they also live in a little house, a little cottage house. And I keep my TV really low. Like, it's weird because like those are things like I even noticed when I was younger is like sometimes you could go to a older person's house and you'd be sitting there. It's like, are you watching this? I can't even hear it. And it must be something as you get older that you can differentiate between sounds better or something. I don't know. Because I listen to the TV super low, super low. Sometimes I'll have something on like 2, and it hardly ever does it go past 5. It's got to be like something is up with the filming. Like some things, like on Plex, I've always got to turn it way up to like 85 to hear. But normally, there is some movies before that I've had on YouTube that I have to turn way up higher. It's just, I don't know. Though that is like how people download and stuff, but oh my gosh, they're watching the same kind of videos as, and I think they reminded me of Vines, and I keep trying to think of when was Vines popular? Was that when my kids were teenagers and that's when I was being shown that, or were they a little older? I can't remember, but I remember maybe that was my grandkids were teenagers and my younger girls were just out of high school or something. I don't know. But Vines are like these quick, kind of like TikToks. It's kind of like TikTok tried to become like Vines. But you know what? Another thing too is like Stella's very stinky in the vaginal region. And so I was trying to figure that out. I was Googling like what that could be. And it said it could be an impaction in the anal gland. And whenever I've had her go to the vet or where they would do it, they've always said it's really hard. It's really hard to get to. And she doesn't, I don't think, express it well because of her hips. So she doesn't get down. I don't know. So I was looking that up and trying to see like if I should try and do that. And so I looked on TikTok first. I thought, oh, well, just a real quick video of somebody showing it. No, it was nothing. And I was, then you go on YouTube and you put that in the search. Oh, you got endless supply. That's the difference. See, where I don't think TikTok, there's going to be changes. Like TikTok is like so commercial. There's like commercial after commercial and then people selling you stuff. They actually have commercials and they're doing some kind of a weird interjection of subliminal things between videos. Even for a while, the videos I was sending my mom, she would say, it keeps being porn when you start it. She's like, I don't understand. And I was like, that is so weird. But she was telling me that months ago. Then I started noticing in between videos, there's faces popping up, people popping up, and there was interactions popping up. The other day, an alien face popped up, and I was like, okay, this is weird. Like there's something going on. This isn't just a glitch between videos because you can go trying to find that video in between and there's nothing. So it's something with them. but there isn't, like, there's educational stuff, like if you're looking for naturopathic information and homeopathic, everything that is like more natural and stuff, with herbs and natural remedies and stuff, you can search on TikTok and find some, but those are also the accounts that are being taken down and shadow banned and stuff like that. So I don't know how successful. And I think you could go on YouTube and search it. But the thing is with YouTube, the difference to me is YouTube isn't just like social media. YouTube is like a format that has educational videos and stuff. It has information. It's more of going into information, you know, especially TikTok here started out just being people just dancing. And so it just reminded me a lot of these vines. So these vines are these really quick little snippets, and then they run them all together, and it's like, it's too much for my fucking head. And I've got whatever on their diagnosis thing, you know, like attention deficit, like my brain's already going fast enough. I don't need this shit. And like I'm trying to slow shit down and it's just popping off. It's like, oh my gosh. And all these kids that grew up on that, it's making their brain like adapt to it, like it needs it. It's like a drug. Like if things are slow and boring, it's like it's too much. What do you mean I'm supposed to think? What are you talking about? I'm supposed to do this? What? And it's like they can't do it because it was like sent from an early developmental stage. There was a point, I bet you, if we look at it, it would be Gen Alpha was where it started being kids being handed, babies being handed devices. Like there was all sorts of kids that had iPads. Tons of them had phones. A lot of them, they were using their parents' phone because it was so like, you know, like you get, and people thought like this was making kids smarter. That's the thing. It's not like they were doing it with the intentions of creating this problem with kids' minds, but the scientists who push these bullshit, they fucking know. So yeah, this shit falls back. It's all on intention. When you have intention to just fuck people over, make money off of it, that's what you're going to have consequences to, your intention. And so the parents, there's learning, there's consequences. So all the parents have things to learn from the choices they make. Everybody does, every generation, every parent, like everybody has that as a part of the living experience. But the people who create the intention of chaos and disruption to profit, those ones have, there's repercussions. So it's like a balancing, a karmic balancing. And that's where I'm like, you know, I don't know if some of those souls do get reabsorbed back into like a thing. Like, I don't know. I think it's got to be something that's very individual on each soul. Like if yours, I don't know how to explain it, but it's not like they go to hell or something. It's just different than that. And but it's like a weeding out, kind of like a filtering system. Like they couldn't get past the filtering system. It's not like you can trick it and go into the higher vibration, that you can't go higher than what you are. And so some of these people's vibration at their soul level, like I don't know if they are, because there's so many souls who've been advancing. So some of these souls have stayed, you know, and not gone and reincarnated, just had their consciousness adjusted into other beings or something and didn't go through. But it's a whole nother purpose of their stuff. It's like the darkness, but it's kind of, I'm not talking more about the souls that they catch in their system and like turn them more dark. That is going to be something to watch as this plays out. how some people who are so absorbed by the darkness pulls free. And some of them, like, there's already shit with Kim Kardashian, like her hair's falling out and shit. People are saying she's just wearing wigs because she's damaged her hair so much. Because, yeah, and that stuff is going to be revealed. Like in true life, they probably just, put that one to sleep and get another clone out and change her hair that way. But a human would have damage to their hair. And so, whatever, I don't know what she is. She's a robot, a clone. If she's just that lost of a human, that I don't know about that. Because they try and make this mindless droid just chasing artificial shit that doesn't matter. Spend your life chasing something that doesn't matter. Don't grow. Just, I don't know. It seems senseless to me. But anyway, so on these shows, and there's a whole bunch of these on YouTube. And my grandkids watch them, and go over there, and it's like this same age, only, now it's years later. It's the same fucking thing. Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. It is, and the one that she was watching, just blasting, I was like, oh my God. And I kept going, are you sure your mom let you watch this? I really don't think your mom would want you to watch this. And she's like, no, she thinks it's funny. And it's like these gamer boys. So like these, I don't know. I don't want to say anything mean to the gamer boys or anything, but some of them can be less mature than some of the other fellas. Like they're like their own group, and they can think certain things are funny or whatever. They're just their own reality. And it's like a disconnect in like this age group is a certain way and this age group is a different way to me when I look at some of these different categories that so these boys. And another thing too, when you make videos, you have to go through a thing and you have to say, yes, this is for children. And then I never say that. I never say my videos are for kids, but there's more to the process you have to answer. So I thought that there was like a better weeding out. Like, I don't know how so many kids have access to some of these shows. And the ones, so one of them was a girl who was, and they're so always over the top. Like, fuck, they grew up on Nickelodeon or something. They are, she's going and playing weird video games, and then you are playing with her, but she's not just playing the game. She does it's like these little snippets, these little vines, and then they just run them together as all these little, like, oh, it's too much, geez. And it's like got sound effects and all this noise. And hers was some creepy, weird video with this really creepy girl, and it'd be weird stuff. Like, I don't even know. It was weird. Like, I could go on about how weird it was. And then this other one that she started watching was these guys, and they even made cartoon characters for themselves. And so sometimes they just sit and tell stories in these cartoon characters. They cuss. They make fun of people. They, it's like so toxic. And, it's fine and dandy for kids that age, but all these little kids are watching this. Like, are these, I don't know how these boys' videos, like all these people, like the girl one, it was definitely geared towards young kids. And the video game was weird as can be. The other one, though, is geared more towards adolescent boys. The joking, the making fun of people, the weird stories, the cussing all the time and stuff. And just all this, like, really quick, bam, 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 all day. And so loud. It was like, oh my God. I was like, oh. And there was nothing, there's nothing to do because you're not at your house. I did find, some things. Like, I went out and put boxes on the grass she was trying to kill. I cut more of the little dog's hair and stuff, but it still doesn't take that long. Me and the little one, we played indoor soccer, And that was another thing too. It was freezing cold and raining all day. Or we would have gone outside and done stuff. But anyway, so we're in this little room, and it was just, I don't know, it was just exhausting. And I was super tired anyways, because the whole time I kept thinking, oh my God, I kept sitting there being like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I just want to shut my eyes and go to sleep. And then of course, Mama would hit me, be like, you're not sleeping here, girl. I just want to sleep. And so I'm sitting there, I was like, so she kept, she was not letting me go to sleep at all. And, because they're sitting there anyways, I was like, I'll just sit here and like pretend like I'm watching this show. And then what was I gonna say? In the inside of my mouth is like shedding, like in this coughing, this sneezing. Oh yeah. Anyways, I was super exhausted. By the time I left, I was just tired. It wasn't like the kids were bad or anything. It wasn't like anything was that stressful or anything. But it's just like when you're away from your house and you would be doing other things, and it keeps like nagging at you, like, oh, I could be doing this, I could be doing that. And then you're super tired. And I kept thinking, oh my God, I've been up since 1:30. No wonder you're tired. And so I would be more tired, more tired. So by the time she got home, I was just exhausted. I couldn't wait. So I got here, made some food. I had some tea and banana bread and made Stella food and stuff. And it was like, right after I did that, I was just like, oh my God, I just want to go to sleep. And she kept laying down and started snoozing. So I start closing everything up to go to sleep. So like at 7 o'clock, I laid down on the couch and just conked out. So then I wake up, and I swear to God, this is what's getting me, is because I swear there was a time I woke up in between. And this is throwing me from the other night now, because I was positive I had already woke up once when this happened, and it was dark outside. Then I woke up and it was a light outside. So I was just laying there, and I was feeling like super rested. I was feeling like, wow, I feel really rested. I feel really awake. So, man, I must have slept really late. It's already light. And so it would have been more like around this time. So I thought I'd slept till like 5:30 or 6 or something at least. And then whatever I did, I got up to go pee or something, and then I heard it loud and clear. It's still the same day. I was like, what? Are you freaking kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? That would mean it would only be like 9 o'clock. And so I was like, well, okay, I'll go look and see. Go get my phone. Yeah, it was motherfucking 9 o'clock. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? So I'm already awake and it's 9 o'clock. Oh my God, what the hell? And so then, whatever, laid there for a long time or whatever, went back to sleep. But the whole night was super shaggy. It was just like really choppy going. And there was even another time when I woke up and it was light outside, only it was the light. And that looked totally different than the other. And I kept thinking, I'm positive the other night it was this kind of light. It wasn't that other light, because it's a different kind of light that comes through the windows. And I'm thinking, I'm positive. But all of these things are just totally throwing me. It's like, I don't know. It's like not really existing and just getting sucked into these different little stories or something. I don't know. Because that night thing does not seem normal. There's nothing about it that seems normal. Like you just go to sleep, you go to bed, and then you wake up and it's the next day. And then even when you go to sleep, there's weird shit that goes on in the other realms in your sleeping time. And there's weird communication between your soul and your mind, or whatever the hell, the vessel and the soul, talking to each other the whole fucking time that you're even sleeping. Like, it's so weird. But so, some of these nights, and I had thought this for a long time. Like I said this months and months ago. I said something's going on in the nighttime. It's like it's weird. It's like it drags out, and especially if you're up at night, it's like, man, it is weird. And I've been up so much at night through all of this stuff. So, anyways, that whole thing just seemed to get weirder and weirder. And Amy sent me this video this morning of, one of the videos she sent me was that now they have fenced off around the Supreme Court building or whatever. And you know, that one lady who Donald put in, that they made like this whole thing about, like they came at it from one direction. See, this is the thing that they do, is they come at it from one direction. So they kept making like, oh, she's going to be like him. She's going to be so, make us not be able to get our babies ripped out of us, or going to make us like have to follow all these Christian rules or something, because she was some religious, like, I don't know, all the stuff they were trying to say about her. But what caught me when they were doing all that stuff about her was her kids. Because that is where I was I was like suspicious. Oh yeah, that was another thing in the middle of the night. And then I don't know, I keep doing the black seed oil. I couldn't do it so much yesterday because I wasn't here all day. But I definitely think it's drying something up. But last night it started being like, I've said before, where I think there's worms in there. And I was like, oh my God, are they moving around? And my nose started burning, like there was water in my nose or something. It was burning and burning. I was sneezing and sneezing. So I was having other weird things. And what I was just saying was, I noticed this morning, like the inside of my mouth seems to be like peeling. And I don't know, I feel certain it's the poisons and stuff, but I did see a map yesterday that was showing somebody picked up on some kind of thing where it shows the frequency this frequency wave go. And man, it is bad down in the southeast. Like even in the, just the south, just all along the Gulf, all those states. So it's like from the Carolinas, Florida, across Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, Louisiana, Kentucky. And it does spread up, like by Ohio and all the place. Like it's really heavy right in there. And then in Texas, it's like, oh my gosh, so much. And then it's weird because there's like all this empty part where there wasn't really any, which is another weird thing about it, is where it wasn't any is also, okay. So where there wasn't any, then what I was just seeing was it's kind of like a different frequency. And it's weird because they always make that like the flyover zone. They always try and get people, oh, you don't want to drive through there. They want people to fly over. And then I've said the whole time there was weird shit with the interstates. It's like they've made a portal to go through the energy or something. So if that is a different energy, and that is where it is that there's a lot of, that's the new map, is a lot of this. So in the map that this guy was showing, and then the frequency blows across down like by New Mexico, but then it hits into California and it goes up. But then I kept trying to see up by me because all of this spot, there was like no frequency. And I'm always talking about like this frequency is intense by me. And then I could see up in the spot I was with a color. But most of the thing, because my part of the map was like way up at the top, because most of it was all this part down here and how much it was. But up there by me, there was like some color, but I couldn't see it so much. And so I was thinking, okay, so maybe from Seattle to Vancouver and out past to Mount Baker, like we are at a pocket. And maybe in that pocket is hit with the frequency from another area or something. Maybe ours is coming from the ring of fire in that kind of position or something. But on this one, he says it's like shoots across, and then it's like mask, like those things, TOWERS, it carries it. And it was very interesting. I think his thing was live. If it wasn't, I for sure would have liked it, and I'll share it. But anyways, so in this other video, okay, yeah, because the sickness, that's what, because I keep trying to, this sickness, whatever is going on, has got to be environmental. And is this fucking rain, like, this is the end of June. Like, it's past the middle of June, right? Yeah, yesterday was the 17th. Today's the 18th. And it's so cold and rainy here. It's like tomorrow, the next day, and the next day it's supposed to be sunny and like low 70s. So I'm gonna be outside. I'm gonna do my my table. I did this mosaic, and I got epoxy, and I'm gonna go out and put it on there and try and make it. Because when somebody had told me before, I thought it was I got the wrong stuff, put it on. So now I've seen. I did learn about epoxy on TikTok though, because somebody doing those videos, then you see. But it's not stuff that, like, the searching kind of thing. I still say YouTube is, YouTube I think is going on. And some of these other ones, all these different, they're going to like go away with like Tinder and Hinge, and like people are not going to be doing this kind of stuff. Right now it's kind of like an outlet, kind of like this chaotic outlet for people to communicate and make contact and find people who see things the way they see, you know, and understand, because it's so, the awakening's on such so many different levels of what people are seeing and understanding and stuff. So it's just very chaotic. But okay, so back on that. The people, so what I had noticed when she was being put in was about her kids, was where she got them. And I was like, because I had already noticed that when he was bringing people on the stage, it was to expose them. And so people are being all freaking out and outraged about her, but I was being suspicious. I was being like, especially because, you know, I was liberal and Democrat, so that's a lot of voices that I would hear. And, but that's where the people all get stuck. And that is where, when you're a part of one group, then you start seeing the bad part, the hard part of the group. Like, man, some of this stuff. But it definitely was going in the wrong direction. That's for sure. But so anyways, yeah, her thing, I feel like, was something to expose. And I swear I heard a couple of other stories about the justices. There was a couple other of them where I was like, oh, these people are involved in some shady shit. And I don't know if, like, when we start looking back and people start putting things together. But then some things, it will be like, well, did Joe say that because it was a puppet? No, I mean, not because it was it was the mask person. It was this other person saying that. So would he really say that? So all that stuff, you just have to kind of like blow it off. But, or maybe they're using an old things that he did say, but like he wanted to have, like, I don't know, there was a whole thing that they kept talking about that the Dems wanted to put in more because that was going to overrun. I don't know. There was a whole weird thing about, like, well, if this justice doesn't agree, we'll just put in more and more and more and get things the way that they wanted them. There was a whole weird thing about that was going on during, I think it must have been when Donald was still in. Maybe it was during when they were going to have that election thing. I'm not sure of exactly when it was going, but it was definitely, they were getting these people saying certain things. And it was obvious because first Donald said, they just want to, it's something that is a word. They want to not overrun. It's a weird word. And we start hearing it and hearing it, but they wanted to do that with the thing because then they push through their laws and stuff. Plus they get blackmail on people. Like, it's so fucking corrupt. And so they, and these people get in and do corrupt shit because those adoptions are more buying babies. There's a lot of, and then there's a lot where the church is involved in, and then there's certain people who get first access and stuff. Like, there's a lot of shady shit. I think that's another thing I heard with another one of the justices too, was another thing about baby brokering, you know, buying babies and shit. So there will be things that will, well, that is going to continue to come out and take down more and more with the church, and showing all these corrupt marriages between these different systems and stuff, like the church and the justice. Like, but that goes all the way back to what it's always been, the crown and the church working in sync. So the so anyways, in this video, they have sealed them off. It's caged in now. They've put up fencing. And so people are like, so what's going on with that? Oh yeah, and the thing that was on the Empire State Building, now they've gotten things to see, like it's like a balloon kind of thing. And so people are like, well, why would they go and all of a sudden in the middle of the night put a big giant dragon balloon on the top of the Empire State Building? Like, what is going on with that? Are they just trying to get us to start opening our minds to there's dragons in the sky? Are they trying to get us to see something? Because there sure is a lot of videos where people are saying, especially over like by Japan and stuff. And that's weird too, because like if you were watch scary movies like back when I was a kid, that always the ones in Japan, like we had the scary movies were telling us the truth. That's what's so wild about it. With the mad scientists and them all fucking making people, and there's so much of that in the scary movies that we've even talked about. How much this horror, sci-fi and stuff in the old movies, it was constantly some guy, some doctor, he had a lab, he had his hidden lab in his house, and he had all these mutants down in his basement, and it was over and over and over again. And in Japan, it was like Godzilla. So when you, and it would be like in the middle of the movies would come on, it would be like Friday night. I think it must have been like 8 or 9 o'clock, because I would stay up later. My siblings would all go to sleep. I would stay up by myself. I think as I went on, they started to stay up, and nobody was into it like me, except for my brother. He's really into horror movies and stuff, but he, I don't know, I think he is like more interested from a different era, like from the one I was interested in from being a kid. And so there would be like Frankenstein, Dracula, werewolf, Invisible Man. And I was thinking it's so crazy because they would have a lot of these. It would always be Transylvania and the gypsies. And there's more to this story. You know, it wasn't just an accident that stuff was in there. And then there was, I wonder if the gypsies were like aware and trying to fight back against them, and that's why they got such a bad rap. And the gypsies did start committing crimes and stuff like that, but it was more, maybe it was more against these people who were trying to be in charge, so they became outcasted. But anyways, they have a lot about that in Transylvania. And then there's a whole thing, I can't think of what it's called, but they've even made a newer vampire movie about it, of them moving Dracula on a ship to bring him over to America. And so there's like this infiltration of these bloodsuckers, where we became a food source. So that was accurate. Then they have over in Japan, and I would always get disappointed when it was going to be Godzilla. I always liked the other ones. But so, when you're sitting there watching and it's going to be like, oh, it's going to be Godzilla. Because all the Japanese ones were always these big creatures, the big giant creatures. And they would fight and stomp on people and kill people and stuff like that. But it's weird now that there's all this over here by Japan where all of a sudden they're seeing these dragons are burning shit. And I don't know, we'd have to be there to actually see, because anything can be created, made up lies and CGI and all that. And that also, see how it's like totally different realities and different creatures and different places and stuff. But anyways, the so the so anyways, if those creatures are going to be, because there is a lot of creatures, what people are seeing from the ocean and stuff. Now the ocean, somebody was doing a video over by California and said the ocean has changed colors. And then she's like, I wouldn't get in there. It looked weird. And I couldn't tell. It just looked really dirty to me, but I wasn't standing there. She was just showing the video. And then down where there's all these whales and sharks, alligators, and then people are finding these other weird creatures and stuff, and also ginormous fish. There's all sorts of weird shit going on. And so I don't know, it kind of like different realms, like when I say everything's different realms and realities, it kind of seems like it goes with it. Like these different realms and realities, these different creatures in different places and stuff. And that is a part of, I don't know, the part of us awakening to the truth. Because the truth is going to have to do with this confirmation, this alternate reality, that what we think it is, and how we're so trapped into their storyline that they created, but it's very different. I think when people start being able to travel around more and stuff and see, and there will be like through portals and stuff, and it's like energetic. That's why I was saying, like, there's a different energy. Like when people live in a certain place and it has a certain energy, it's its own reality. And then it can go into subdivision, just like there's certain groups that their reality is this, and other groups, their reality is this. And so there's all these subcategories of realities. And so that creates the energy of the space. And then they have where things aren't like what they tell us. And there's more stuff happening, more sinkholes opening. There's more weird shit happening. Oh yeah, there was, it seemed like there was more weird stuff. I don't remember if it was somebody else coming back to life. There's weird shit. There's just keeps being weird shit like that. There's going to keep being things that seem like magic and miracles and stuff, because that is what the world really is, a supernatural, magical place. And it is like all the things that were, it isn't like they were dead. They were dead to us because they weren't in our awareness. They weren't in our reality because that wasn't what we were focused on. But now it's coming back into our reality, but it wasn't like they were dead. These things were around us. These other realms, giants, fairies, these dragons and all that stuff. But we didn't have the awareness of them. And so it wasn't in our vision. Like I said, it's like your veil over your eyes it's like this covering, and you only can see what what you're supposed to see. But it's like the end of this storyline opens up a whole new storyline. So you have to open your eyes to the truth to see everything that was always around, but you couldn't see it. And so that's why it's not like if they're going to try and tell us like, well, dragons are just now hatching out. Like they're trying to make this push about aliens right now. And aliens, I don't even know. Like all their stuff is just like trying to cover their own self, their own story. Because all this shit was always there. It's like what they're saying, you know, aliens were always around. They were like going past you at the store and stuff. Like they can come down here. It really has always been like you go out ignorantly thinking that you are superhuman and go out in the forest and you can be some other being that's smarter and wiser and some other being's food. Like all that stuff was real always. And the like Bigfoot was always around, and it is like some of the things it's weird how like it could be, and some of the things could somehow be in our awareness, like it could cross into our awareness, like in sightings. But even in sightings, and a lot of times they just said that the people are crazy, don't listen to them. I saw this kid who's having what is that called, that brain V2K, is that what it's called, where they just access through into your brain, like they just go in and start talking and doing things and causing things to happen. He was saying some of the stuff he was saying, I was like, oh, because I've had that same thing where all of a sudden you're getting pricked with all these electrical things and stuff, hearing words in your head, the loudness and stuff. And I don't know what you can do about it, but it, like, some people, it starts driving them crazy. Like people start killing themselves over it. But I don't know what you can do about it, because to me it's like there's so much energy and stuff. And like in my room, whatever that is in there, like I can sense it, I can see it, but not like I'm not going to focus on it. I'm not going to try and figure out, like, because to me, I always feel like it's something, my stomach's growling, something to try and disrupt the energy, to cause chaos or something. So it's not, I don't feel like it's like helpful. I feel like that's why it stays kind of hidden back there too. And Stella gets so upset when I go back there, especially when I go back there by myself. And she'll come back there and she'll sit and she'll get really bothered. She'll start crying. But I don't want to give it my energy. I don't want to feed it. I don't want to feed it any fear or any of that stuff. And then whatever the hell is in my kitchen, like that is just, yeah, and it's not the same thing. It's knife throwing, knife wielding, throwing things off the counter, shit, knocking shit over all the goddamn time. That energy, and it's so noisy. Like, so anyways, there's all that kind of stuff around too. And the disruption in our sleep, where I feel like there's like some kind of a energetic field, like they are manning it or something. I don't know how to explain it. It's like because they can't stop this, whatever's going to happen. They can't stop it. But there's like, if there's some beings or something, oh, my stomach's so growly. There's some beings or something that is trying to control it. So, because this is very controlled. This whole awakening thing to me is so controlled. That's why, to me, it's like, okay, they're going to tie a dragon to the top of the Empire State Building at night. So everybody gets up in the morning and starts going, what's that? What's that? And then somehow they get pictures, It's even been in the Daily Mail. And you can see it's like a giant ass balloon, and you can see all the ropes holding it on. It's like, what did they do? Like, this is so strange. We're going to do this dangerous thing just for fun. Like, oh, a rich guy is just going to do that for fun. Like, there's got to be something. So it seems like, to me, it's to just keep opening your minds, to put that into your mind. Dragons and sky. And maybe it's because, we've got to get out of the fear of all these things that they told us to be scared of. There's, like the giants and stuff. Like, there has been battles with the giants, with different tribes and stuff. But it was like, but we were also battling. This has been like a place where there was a lot of battling that played out. So it's not like just the giants are just bad. But like, look at us. Like, we go and eat other animals. And then are we bad? So just because they look at us as animals and eat us, it doesn't mean that they're bad. So I don't know. I mean, and maybe the giants, because it's the red-haired giants that were the ones that were so cannibalistic. There's a lot of stories and tribes and stuff about the fighting with them, and that they would eat them and stuff. And so I don't know if they went extinct or something, because I still think that there's some that were moved into the mountains. They've been living out in the mountains this whole time, and that are out in the because some it's out in the desert, in the mountains and stuff in Afghanistan. Like, so there was giants out there. Was giants all over the fucking place, and they just were like pushed out. And just like, it's so weird because they have like that kind of stuff in movies, like even in the Never-Ending Story. And it is so much more in kids' movies. Was like an evaporation of the magic, because it wasn't like it went away. It was because we started ignoring it. It was like this magical, like how I said, it's going into like this cartoonish, like this more animated version of life. And it was like that before. As in a period of time, there was a very animated time where there was a lot of different creatures that all lived with each other. And then as the storyline became more denser, it was like, oh man, like in that show Toy Story, where everything is super alive to a kid at a certain point, where, like the one little girl who was playing with her dolls, and she had like her dolls are just sitting in certain places. And she's playing Barbie. She's got her whole little campsite set up. She's got this other little campsite. She's got this whole thing set up, and they're all sitting in their little chairs and stuff. But to a kid, there's a whole thing happening. To us, we're just looking at it as like these little toys sitting there. But, she's playing out a whole story and seeing some magic. And oh man, and it got hit a couple of times. Stella knocked into it once. Her sister knocked into it once. Oh my gosh, it was the hugest meltdown. Like, destroyed my life. But so she but that magic where it is super real. And so as humans, it wasn't just as kids. It's so weird because they've got this theme and other things too. Lock and Key, is that the name of that show? And then you become an adult and you no longer see the magic, so the magic isn't seen by you. But really, it's not just going from a kid to an adult. It's going through their development process. They were taking the magic away from us. They were getting us to believe that we were this other thing, like with this flesh and blood. The flesh and blood is very, very dense way to look at yourself. It's weird sometimes with these words. So it is a very dense way to look at yourself and multiple ways. And so, oh, my stomach, I feel like going and making some tea and eating right now. Where are we? Okay. So the denseness, it kind of turned us into, just like how I was seeing in that one vision, how it was going from like it looks like a color movie. Oh, that's funny too, because I've even taken the black and white movies and colored them, like this forced coloring. But it's like the colored movies that is like what they pulled us into. That is so weird too, in the micro macro, how they used movies to pull us into their storyline. But it was like this creation. And yes, when the movies were black and white, the energy, like if you watch old movies and stuff, I'm telling you, there is going to be some kind of historians that go back through this programming in the dense and break it down, and what we were being taught and how it turned things. And we'll be able to see. But there will be people who will study this stuff, I think. But there is stuff like, so in the black and white movies, it was like, it's really weird too, is because back then I told you how it was so much more about morals, like everything. And that goes back like with the, the church and the state, the crown and the church, how the missionaries and stuff in the, like this era of like, you're going to go to hell, you can't do this, you can't do that. Well, you gotta use that kind of prophylactically in order to get submission from the overall crowd, so that they fear going into hell. But it was so pushed in this black and white era during this time of, oh wow, things were black and white. That is so trippy. And then they kind of were guiding people how to look at things. So bring up issues and then guide people gently to how they look at things. But really, it's a hardcore thing, because they even use in the movies people laughing at other people to get us to conform. So the in the black and white movies of this like, you're not good enough, if you even have a dark thought, then you got God's or the devil's got access to your mind, and you got to close your mind, close it tighter, get it closed. And as so people would, and then it was like they got twisted, and they, because there was like this jump that went from this period of time, and I don't know if it was created to where they pushed people too far, and then people just were like, fuck this shit, I'm gay. Like, 'cause that was the next big thing that happened, was this gay movement thing, where all these people started wanting to live their truth. They didn't want to, it was like impossible to be so perfect. And I think the thing is it's not just like gayness. It has to do more with your soul. Your soul is ambiguous. It has no gender. And so they want to define and control love and stuff like that. And it's very much through your biases. So that is where I think it's just kind of accepting, like, if love comes to you in a same gender person, it's for you to experience that, to go through, is to break down your biases or whatever it is, to break down programming, to have different experiences. All these different experiences are what the soul comes in to have. So I think that was a part of this, like, but then they tried to lock people into, well, then you're gay. You're attracted to the same sex, you're gay. So they still were trying to control it and not be like, because I think basically everybody, your soul is bisexual. It is no gender, and it doesn't look at things that way. So that is, but they keep wanting to define it. But then there was the punishment of God when that came out, because then there was the AIDS, but now we know it was the fraud who really created it. And so it was when they were really hitting us with the storyline. See how they continue this storyline. And so then it became color, but it was like all this nastiness was playing out. Like people just went so dark, and drugs and alcohol became so accepted. Before that, back in the black and white era, it was when wives had husbands that were drunks and stuff. It was way more shameful and stuff. As time went, then people became so run by their impulses. That became like this colored version, but it was still this density where we definitely weren't looking at the magic. Everybody was like strung out, just, I don't know, on drugs, on ego, as it was just like all these weird things, like so much mismatching, like all our relationships, everything was just so chaotic. And then it went into, I lived that way for a while, but there's some stuff that went on before we got to 2020, before we even got to 2016. There was still like all the way back to like, well, by 2000, they were already telling us about the end of the world. It was being pushed hard. And Nostradamus was on cable, and they were telling us that at the time it was something with the computer was going to destroy the world, because the computer, the world, like something with time, I don't know what the hell, their Y2K era. And so there was drama all leading up to there. And but then there was some changes, definitely like by 2012, people were taking it a lot more serious. Like there was a lot of people who were really scared of the Mayan calendar ending, and which now we are aware that the calendars have all been lies, and we don't even know what month or year we're really in. In Ethiopia, it's like 2012 still now. And or was it 20? Yeah, it was 2012 when they thought it was going to end, wasn't it? When they told us it was gonna, I mean, I don't know. It was sometime. It was like December 31st, and all these people are sure, like the world's just gonna blow up because the calendar. But see that, so they were controlling people, but it's almost like you could see it was like the universe was also in control, trying to get us to think about these certain things, like the end, and what are you doing here, and what are you going to do, like getting us to take life more serious. Is through that period of time where it was colored and perms and all of that cocaine and all that stuff, it was so self-indulgent of time. And so it was kind of like a bitch slap once they started being like, well, the world's gonna end. And it was like a big push on those kinds of things, like Armageddon movies and zombie apocalypse shows and stuff. So they started really pushing, and it was like it changed the formatted dialogue. So it changed that in these conversations, and got people's view, see people's reality, their view became different. They started thinking about other things, looking at other things. Then they, with the sickness and stuff, that really got people, like it all goes together. It does seem like that the Mayan calendar thing, what we don't know what year it really is, but that there really was this ending of time and this new reflection. Like everybody started looking at things differently, but a long time ago. That's why so many people are like, well, I've been awake for a long time, because they were looking at things differently. They were seeing things differently, but there's still so much to learn and see that's why it's so long and drug out, and there's so much to it. But that is the thing that we're here for. That's the thing. Everybody thinks it's all this other stuff, but no, we're here for this awakening, this challenging time of evolving, this ascension of you. It's your personal ascension, your personal evolving. So that's why we're here. All this other shit is, it's the tools to give you to go through your process. And the successful part of the process is where we start a new world, a whole new vibe, new realities. And it's not going to be just one. We don't see life through one eye. We see it through multiple for a reason. And so there will be multiple realities, but there will be more of an understanding. And there could be where there's places where, you go to somewhere and there's dragons hanging out, laying around on the mountains and stuff. I mean, we may get there, or when you go to a place and you go in and giants are working the counter. Like, I don't know. Like, things are going to change a lot. But there's going to be a lot of, like, not these jobs. A lot of jobs are going to be AI. Now they're even saying they've got trucks to deliver with AI and stuff. But there's going to be just big differences. They're going to go so far away from corporation and so much more into independence. And but there's going to be communities, but there still is going to be people not depending on other people in so many different ways, not to make them feel better, not to take care of them, not anything. Everybody's going to become so much more independent through all of this process. And you see this desperation. That's one thing you see on TikTok, is this desperation of people who don't know what to do. They don't believe in themselves. They're just stuck, scared, and begging people to help them, to figure it out for them and stuff. And, that's part of their process and stuff. But everything is going to get us all to that certain place of this independence, where we don't need somebody else to make us feel better. We don't need somebody else to take care of us. That we, and it isn't like, well, just go learn how to take care of yourself. It is the reason what they go through some of that stuff is to change their priorities, because they think they need certain things that they don't need. And so this is a process of them learning how to let go of the things they don't need. So they have to go through this shedding. And so all of this is this shedding of this old reality. And the reality is sticky. There's like so many different holds of the reality on us, and so many different realities that have to merge together in order to fall apart. So it's everything falling apart, everything coming together to fall apart. So then it's like this flower coming out of this empty soil. It's like everything falls apart and decay. And then this beautiful flower grows out. That's the new earth kind of vibe coming from all of the debris. So, but we got to let go of the debris. We got to just mourn it as it occurs and let go of our past and heal your dark energy, purge it out of you, let it go, because that is the stuff that holds you back. And it holds you back, I'm telling you, by like your biases and stuff. Is a one thing to really notice in your healing. Like, why do I feel this way about certain people? Why do I look at them and have an automatic thing that I think? Because we really can only understand people as individuals. And so it's like you have to have an individual relationship to even come close to understanding somebody. And even then, you don't understand somebody and their motivation, what they're here for, what they're going through. It still is an observer just trying to complete their own story to understand something on a deeper level, because there's no real understanding of anybody else. That's why there's such a huge part of this about acceptance. and seeing your biases and letting them go, acknowledging them and understanding them, and then letting them go, so that you don't hold on to that stuff, because it is created through this era of indoctrination and programming. Like, we were very programmed. And the thing is, too, is like in other times of our history, even though it's not all congruent, is it's all chopped up and shaggy too. It is that it wasn't always so controlled like how it is now. Like, we're under mind control. Like, they had other things, like their mind control before would have been out of fear, but they've gone another level now, because before it would have been, where people were scared, like how are they going to have food and shelter, which we're down to that again. But like in the more primitive times, it was way easier to control people. And now it's more difficult for them, because there's so many people and there's so many different groups and different cultures and stuff they're trying to control. So everything got too much for them. It became too much. So of course it was going to fall apart. But their whole thing with how, like, using programming, having everybody put these devices in their house and have it program how you think, how you look at things, how you react to things and stuff. And because it's even deeper, because it plays on certain things like that they got to play out, and it's so insidious. So anyways, but that is what you're up against, is this deprogramming yourself from all of this programming. And it was all to keep you in the dark. And keeping you in the dark is more of keeping you in dark spirits, in dark energy, and keeping you from not seeing the truth. But that is why this awakening is the lights coming on. And that is why it is, to me, it's like this flickering of the lights. Like, everything is this flickering right now, to get people to wake up, to get people to notice this, think about that, and everybody, you start thinking of things differently when you see more to the story, when you see that there's more. It gets you to see things differently. You look at it differently. And so that is why you can see, like, oh, all these people are still looking at it this one way. They just haven't seen yet. That's why I don't stress out about it. Like, they're going to see. Because the lights are flickering, but they're going to suddenly come on. And that could be, like, because they've already had the fenced in around the White House, fenced in around the Capitol, fenced in around the judicial, like some's got to give. Like, and so many of these people are, I think, arrested anyways. That and there's videos of bombing going on over by Russia too. So they've got that thing going. They've had a lot of threats on the nuke thing. So that could be the thing that's going to wrap this shit up. And they also, there's a lot of things going with the money thing still. Like, there's a lot of people who don't seem to know what's going on, but they're saying that the money's about to crash. The housing market's about to crash. This is about to crash because something they're paying attention to, but they're not seeing the whole thing yet, because that still will have to play out. And so there was, but that is something is going to just like click, the lights come on, and that is where people are just going to start seeing everything. And it is going to be like, I'm telling you, it's going to be like the lights coming on at the bar at the end of the night. Some people are going to be raggedy when these lights come on. They're going to be raggedy. So, and some people are going to be embarrassed and humiliated. It's going to be intense. It's going to definitely be intense. And it's got to be super, super close. And people are being really, really weird. Like, she sent me this other video of this person in Walmart, and they came and paid with all change, and the girl behind the counter refuses to count the change, and so the guy just wants the manager. He's not going to count his fucking change. He's just going to stand there and demand a manager. She's not going to do anything. We've got a standoff on boundaries here, and that is You know, don't get stuck in these standoffs and stuff. Be independent. Be like, oh, okay, don't, I mean, for all you know, she doesn't even know how to count change. There's a lot of fucking kids that don't know how to count change. So, you know, don't be a dick. Like, if you're coming and paying with the change, count it out. Like, don't just throw a big wad of change on the counter and say, count it. Like, that is very much like this, you know, let them eat cake attitude. Like, do this for me. And, you know, you should count your own change for one thing. And then he keeps saying, well, this is your job. This is your job. Dude, how do you know what the fuck her job is? Taking money and then having to count out all of your fucking change. There's some places that won't even take change. They'll make you go to the change machine and put it through to get dollars out. And you have to bring it in. They're not going to sit there and count it. And so this guy, it seems wacky. And in the girl, too, you know, it seems like the easier thing to get the wacko out of your line is just hurry up and count the change. And that she wouldn't do it. I was thinking, I don't know that she knows how to count change. I mean, it's obviously overwhelming her. She's just standing there. She couldn't even talk or do anything. And he's just freaking out and videotaping. And she keeps saying, I don't want to be videotaped. And he's like, too bad, this is public. She's like, I'm at work. And he is, yeah, so do your job. So it's like so rude. Then I saw another video of these guys. It's like outside of a bar, I think it is. And so 3 guys outside the door, and they're watching this truck do some kind of weird shit in the parking lot. It's pretty dark. And then they're like talking about something with them. And then all of a sudden he turns and starts chasing them in the parking lot. And they go running up between the building, you know, between the building and where the cars are parked. Oh, it's a little smaller. So they go running up through there. And it's like they're going to hide in one of these car parks. 'Cause it seems like a restaurant, not just like a bar. It seems like a restaurant bar kind of place. And then the guy in the big pickup turns, guns it, goes through the sidewalk, crashes into all these cars until he just gets wedged in. So he was intending to run these guys over right out there. Like, and the things I keep seeing, the wacky shit of people on their travels, like crazy stuff keeps going and going and going on places they're staying, things happening at the airports and stuff. And everything's going to keep going like that. And then there's other people are going out and traveling just fine. But whatever happens is supposed to happen for you. It's supposed to be waking you up. Some of the other people, maybe they're just continue to stay oblivious and not wake up. And but maybe their flash moment is a very dramatic thing, you know, and that big fear thing that happens. But man, I think you need to have the awareness of the problems with just leaving your reality, going out and trying to go into other realities, and they're all falling apart. So I don't know. Everything is just super crazy. Like I just harden up just being here and trying to sleep at night. Like fuck, like, man. And I'm gonna call the car place though today and see if like, have any idea of what's going on with the car yet. Like, what are we gonna do? I know I'm just gonna take it in there and get it fixed, this expensive part. And then it's gonna, I'm gonna have to get, like, I guess I'll try and get some big cover to put over, because I was putting the big tarp over my car, but obviously that wasn't enough. And I don't want to do the carport again, because with their crazy weather, it's gonna crash on my car again. And I was lucky that only broke the parts that it broke. It could have done way worse damage. So I don't know. There's just so much chaos, and there's so much just keeping shit together and just riding the wave, man. And I would say it's just going to get crazier and crazier and harder. It's definitely not getting easier. But I think once things flip, it's going to be easier. Well, I don't know. Because it's going to still be so chaotic. Especially like if, I mean, they could do that this week. And all of a sudden say, you know, we've got nukes coming at us. And I mean, they've already got so many people outraged now that they're saying that they're going to, you have to, what is that called? You have to go to war. You have to send your kids or whatever it is, the draft or something. They're bringing in the draft. They're going to make everybody go and fight their wars. And people are pissed off. And then you have all this stuff going with, so that could go down this week. And then if it goes, and all of a sudden, you know, we start getting sirens and being told that take cover or whatever, and people start freaking out, then that's where people are going to wake up. Like, there's going to be some huge dramatic thing. If it's going to be dragons are going to fly over us and start burning trees down, like, I don't know. I don't know. I would say just prepare for anything. It can be spaceships start coming. I don't know. Like, there's tons and tons of fucking footage of that shit. So that's all up there. The sounds, too. The sounds of the sky are so extreme. So, I don't know. I would say expect anything. And it's got to be getting closer. Like, anything. And then you see, like, how the people are just going crazier and crazier. And people who are really held by dark energy, that dark energy is going to be fighting to stay alive. You got to really fight back. Don't just think you're dark just because thoughts that come into your head are dark. That's just showing you you've got dark energy around you. And you got to release it. You got to push it away from you. So just push back on it. Don't listen to it. Don't think like that's coming from you. Because they got people out killing people. And I think that is... people think like, well, it's coming from inside of me. That must be what I want to do. That must be who I am. It's like, you got to have discernment, dude. Is that who you are? Is that like, or are you just eating up with dark energy? So anyways, but that's going to be being revealed too. All these people with their dark energy, but it's going to be intense no matter what. And when it goes down, the energy, the intenseness of all these people waking up and everything shattering apart is still going to be intense. But it's still going to feel like a relief to me to have like people to finally see. So I don't know. You just got to keep riding this wave and trying to hold on to what little sanity you feel you have at this point. This is wild. This is wild. And just keep on thinking this is just like a dream. It's just like we're just in a dream, going from dream to dream to dream. And it just is so weird. And in a dream, we don't have to have all of... nothing has to make sense. So I think we just got to kind of get into that point, into our existence right now, that not everything is going to make sense, and it doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't mean that it's more real if it makes sense. It's just everything is falling apart. And the only thing is that we were told that there was a reality that there wasn't really there. And so it all has to fall apart, and people think like that's the real world. It's like, no, but the real world is pulling you. The real world, your real self is pulling, trying to yank you into remembering, yank you back into yourself. So there's a real thing that's pulling on you, but it depends on how much the dark has a hold of you, if you can hear and see and stuff. So anyways, just, you know, try and keep your sanity as this continues to go, and everything is picking up steam on everything. So, and it's hard to know. You can kind of like, we could make wagers and bets and be like, well, it seems like they're gonna go all in on the war thing at this point, and then make it, well, that's the crash of the financial and all that stuff. And then of course there's gonna be, it's so much about Joe. It just keeps being like this leaked footage of audio things of him talking, which is so, some of the stuff is so ridiculous. But anyways, but I don't know. There's a big movement, I think, even though it's tedious and drags along. But keep in mind what it's really about is to get people to wake up, to get people to reconnect with themselves, to get people to start thinking for themselves. And this is how this game is going to play out. So just remember, throughout all this stuff is to learn to love yourself, love everyone, and have a loving day, because it's up to you. And I'll talk to you later.